So let's start with our first country, which is Pakistan. Now, Pakistan, as we discussed earlier, Pakistan mein there was a constant, transition between democracy and military rule. तो पाकिस्तान की जो पॉलिटिकल सिस्टम थी वो बहुत ज्यादा डिस्टर्ब्ड थी. इट वाजंट कांस्टेंट ओवर अ पीरियड ऑफ टाइम. राइट आफ्टर इंडिपेंडेंस, पाकिस्तान set out with the goal of democracy, with a democratic government. बट ऐसा हो नहीं पाया. इंडिपेंडेंस के बाद जब इंडिया और पाकिस्तान अलग हो गई और जब देयर वाज after independence the country was divided into not just two parts but three parts, right? The third part is what we call Bangladesh today. So but anyway, that was supposed to be Pakistan, that was supposed to be East Pakistan when the division happened. And this was the West Pakistan that we're concentrating on right now. Because Bangladesh we're going to be studying individually as a completely separate country with its own political past and its own political history and background. Right now we're focusing on West Pakistan and how after independence the political aspirations and the political systems in the country changed. तो पहले हमारे पास एक डेमोक्रेटिक गवर्नमेंट था. जब इंडिपेंडेंस हुआ तो लोगों का सबसे पहला इन द थ्री ऑफ द कंट्रीज लोगों का सबसे पहला थॉट था कि देयर इज गोइंग टू बी अ पीपल्स गवर्नमेंट, देयर इज गोइंग टू बी डेमोक्रेसी. सो देयर वाज अ डेमोक्रेटिक गवर्नमेंट आफ्टर इंडिपेंडेंस अंडर जनरल अयूब खान. So this was the first form of government that we had in independent Pakistan, in independent West Pakistan. So, but then under General Ayub Khan's leadership, there was a popular dissatisfaction with the government in the country. लोगों को उनका गवर्नेंस पसंद नहीं आ रहा था और people were dissatisfied. तो इसके बाद क्या हुआ? There was a military takeover by General Yahya Khan. Since लोग already dissatisfied थे इस गवर्नमेंट से, and पाकिस्तान में the military has always been very powerful and very influential, right? So let me write that down so that it's easy to remember. Powerful and influential military, right? So because there was a dissatisfaction in the country against Ayub Khan's rule, so there was a military takeover. Military took advantage of the situation at the point of time, and now there was a military government in Pakistan. But then this was the first that we had. This was the second that we had. बट क्या हुआ कि ये मिलिट्री गवर्नेंस जो था, ये जो मिलिट्री टेक ओवर था, ये भी ऐसा नहीं था कि अब यहाँ पे मिलिट्री गवर्नमेंट ही रहेगा. ये भी एक टाइम बाद टूट गई और फिर से डेमोक्रेसी आया. और ये क्यों टूटी? द रीजन इज the Bangladesh crisis. Now there was the Bangladesh crisis which we're going to be studying on, which we probably studied back in previous chapters, but then we're going to be studying this in detail when we talk about the Bangladesh, or even in our Indian politics book we studied about the Bangladesh crisis in detail and how it increased our Prime Minister of that time, Indira Gandhi's rule and her popularity. So Bangladesh crisis में क्या हुआ था कि this is just the basic fact. So Bangladesh was revolting against, or at that time it was called East Pakistan. So East Pakistan was revolting against the presence of an external invisible power in their own country. So they were like, those people are not even present here, so they have no authority to rule us, right? So it was like they wanted their own independent sovereignty, right? So they wanted that they should get freedom from West Pakistan. They should have their sovereignty intact and they shouldn't be influenced. Their politics should not be determined or dominated or influenced in any way by West Pakistan. So when Bangladesh started revolting, and there were millions of refugees who fled. This Bangladesh shares a border with the northeastern part of our country, the northeast states. So a lot of people, a lot of Bangladeshis fled from their homeland into the northeastern part of India, and they took refuge in India. So India kind of helped liberate Bangladesh from the clutches of Pakistan, and that is why there was a war. There was also a war between India and Pakistan, and India came out to be victorious because obviously it had larger military, and it was kind of powerful in some way or the other. So Pakistan lost that war, and simultaneously they lost Bangladesh. So then Bangladesh became a free country. Anyway, after this Bangladesh crisis, so this military regime that had taken over the democratic rule, this also didn't last long. इसके बाद एक elected government आया, ठीक है, क्योंकि अब ये military regime breakdown हो चुकी थी. अब आया एक elected government, which is again a democracy, which is the third stage of political system that we had in Pakistan. Now this elected government came under Zulfikar Ali Bhutto. Zulfikar Ali Bhutto was able to rule the country between 1971 to 77. This also did not last for long, and then there was another takeover. There was another takeover by General Zia ul Haq, which this was again a military takeover. So going back, this was a democracy, this was military, this was again democracy. Again, there was a military regime. So this democratic government by Zulfikar Ali Bhutto didn't last long. This was again taken over by the military under the leadership of General Zia ul Haq. Now, after General Zia ul Haq came to power, he also did not last for long, right? So there was a pro-democracy movement going on in the country. People wanted democracy now. People's political aspirations now told them that there should be democracy in the region, because a military rule is by nature not very liberating. It's not the kind of system that gives power in the hands of people, and the military rules the state in its own aggressive ways, in its own with its own decisions. It doesn't really consult the people. It doesn't really take their advice. It doesn't really have somebody to represent the population. So military rule is kind of more oppressive than a democratic rule. A democratic rule isn't supposed to be oppressive at all. So that makes the military rule more oppressive. So then this because of this pro-democracy movement, there was again a democratic government in 1988 under Benazir Bhutto. Now, the movement started from around 1892 onwards, and in the year 1988, there was finally again a democratic government under Benazir Bhutto, and also this, because people wanted a democratic government now. So a military rule without the support of the people is bound to lose its administrative powers in a very short period of time, because you cannot really sustain the kind of rule in a country where the people don't support you. So again, the military structure broke down, and there was a democratic government under Benazir Bhutto. And after this point of time, there was a long span of democracy in Pakistan. इतनी देर से हम देखें कि constantly democracy आ रहा था, military आ रहा था, again democracy आ रहा था, but इस period के बाद, बेनजीर भुट्टो के succession के बाद और उनके power में आने के बाद जो है काफी लंबे समय तक democracy रही है पाकिस्तान में, right? और also there was battle among the Muslim League and the People's Party in Pakistan, and there was kind of like a division among, there was kind of like a battle among political parties about who is going to form the next government. But that's kind of really, it's in the nature of democracy. It's in the nature of a two-party or a multi-party democracy, where political parties fight to come into power and form the government. But that's perfectly normal in democracy. But when the reason why trouble comes along is when a democratic setup is threatened by some other form of governance, which is what happened in Pakistan all throughout history right after independence. So then, after this democratic government came in 1988 under Benazir Bhutto, there was a long span of democracy with a battle between political parties in Pakistan. But then, in the year 1999, General Musharraf removed Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif. So in this year, Nawaz Sharif was the Prime Minister. He was, the leader of the state at that point of time, and again he was removed by General Musharraf Khan, and again this was military. So there was, going back, there was democracy in the beginning, then there was military takeover, then again democracy came along, again there was a military takeover, again democracy, and then it lasted for a long time, again there was a military takeover. And in the present date, we know that Pakistan follows the democracy under again the leadership of Nawaz Sharif, but then it's the transition that matters to us. It's like, so it started off with a democracy, but then there was political turmoil in the state. There was the political situation it remained very, very disturbed, and finally democracy has been established in Pakistan, and it continues to exist till the present day, as we know, right? Now, what we're going to be looking at next is factors that led to failure of democracy in Pakistan. Why it so happened that despite people having political aspirations of democracy, and despite it starting out as a democratic country, why it so happened that there were constant military takeovers in the country over and over again. So the first reason that we're going to be looking at is social dominances, military, clergy, and land-owning aristocracy. Now, these classes of people, the military, the clergy, and the land-owning aristocracy, these classes had a lot of social power, and because when socially or economically you're very rich, you have you have an unsaid power of being able to influence politics, of being able to move the government. Just for example, in our country, the top businessman, the richest businessman that we have in our country, those people are very much involved in top political decisions. These people have somehow an authority to manipulate government decisions or government policies, right? Government policies in favor of them. So here, because of the social dominance of these classes of people, they were able to overthrow the government every time a democratic government came into place. So the first reason is this, which is kind of an internal reason. This here is an internal reason. The next two reasons that we're going to see, this one will be an external reason. This here will be an internal plus an external reason. Now, this is, I just mark this out because then in that way it will be easier to remember. We'll see why one is an internal reason and why one is an external reason and why one is a mix of two. The second thing is conflict with India. Now, Pakistan always had a conflicting relationship with India. There has been a lot of disputes. Pakistan और India के बीच में starting से बहुत ज़्यादा disputes रहे हैं. जैसे to start with, there's this huge elephant in the room called the Kashmir issue. कश्मीर को लेके इंडिपेंडेंस के बाद से ही पाकिस्तान और इंडिया में काफी ज्यादा कॉन्फ्लिक्ट्स रही हैं और वो कॉन्फ्लिक्ट्स आज तक अनरिजॉल्व है, वो कॉन्फ्लिक्ट्स आज तक सॉल्व नहीं हो पाए हैं और उनकी वजह से दोनों देशों के बीच में अभी भी लड़ाइयां होती है, अभी भी वॉर्स होते हैं, अभी भी दे आर ट्राइंग टू हैव डिस्कशंस एंड कॉन्फ्रंटेशंस एंड व्हाट नॉट टू सॉल्व द इश्यू, बट इट रिमेन्स unsolved to this date. Similarly, there were a lot of other issues that Pakistan and India had to deal with. There were a lot of border sharing issues, river water sharing issues. There were a lot of I don't know. So there were a lot of conflict. There were a lot of issues of conflict between the two countries because since the advent they had not really been in very friendly terms. तो अब लोगों का कहना ये था कि since our next door neighbor, like India is the geographical location is right next to Pakistan, right? So Pakistan is just a fraction of what used to constitute as the Indian territory. But then this is what people said. People said that since our next door neighbor, we have so many conflicts with them, so a military regime would be more helpful in ensuring and in strengthening security, because अगर military rule रहेगा तो वो it will be able to it will be able to strengthen the security of Pakistan. It will be able to dodge any incoming threats from India's side, and this will not be possible if there were a democratic regime, right? If because it said that the chaos made by political parties and the inefficiency of the democratic government will actually not be very helpful in dealing with the problem of India. It will be dealt with very nicely if there is a military government. So that makes this an internal as well as an external issue, because then they had a problem with an external country, they had a problem with a different country, and to maximize security in the state of Pakistan, to strengthen the security, it will be more helpful to have a military government in place. So this is the second reason why democracy kept on failing in Pakistan, and despite of so many times that democracy came to power, it was always taken over by military rule. Now the third thing is there was a lack of genuine international support for democracy in Pakistan. This basically means that जो भी इंटरनेशनल कम्युनिटी में या वर्ल्ड कम्युनिटी में लोग ये नहीं चाहते थे कि पाकिस्तान में डेमोक्रेसी आए, क्यों नहीं चाहते थे वो हम अभी डिस्कस करेंगे. सो it kind of doesn't matter really when you think about it what other people want or what other states want, but in a practical arena, when you're living in a world community and you have so many relations with the international arena, what other people want and what other people are doing to get what they want actually makes a huge difference, right? So in the international community, people didn't want democracy to last in Pakistan, which is a very important reason why Pakistan was not able to successfully hold democracy in power. So now the question comes of why the international community didn't want a democracy to remain in Pakistan. The reason is that there was this thing called a fear or a threat from global Islamic terror, or what I have written here as GIT. It's basically global Islamic terror, and this fear or this this entire terminology comes from terrorist groups, radical terrorist groups operating in their own ways to spread terrorism to achieve their goals, and it does so by harming other people. So there is a worldwide genuine concern for terrorism, and that is that is somehow related to it's somehow because Pakistan is the state which is said to have which is said to be the root cause of the a problem of terrorism, or which is said to house the majority of terrorists. That, and Afghanistan, where there was the when the 9/11 attack happened, Afghanistan was completely raided by US just to find the members of the Al Qaeda group of people who had actually who were the mastermind behind the 9/11 attack. So similarly, in and from Pakistan, there was the threat of terrorism, there was the fear of global Islamic terror, and that is why the international community, basically the Western countries, the countries of the West, did not want democracy to come to power. They wanted a military regime to remain in power, because a military regime is more authoritative and more oppressive in a lot of ways. So that would kind of make sure that the wrong hands wouldn't the important resources and important important valuable pieces of information wouldn't fall in the wrong hands. These people wouldn't be able to control important things which could lead to the furthering of or the propagation of terrorism. So they wanted that the rule in Pakistan should be oppressive and authoritative, in order to keep people, in order to restrict people from doing certain things, in order to restrict all kinds of terrorist activities, which would kind of be more successful and more effective under a military rule. Because डेमोक्रेसी में क्या होता है, डेमोक्रेसी में लोगों के हाथ में पावर है, तो अब लोगों के हर मूव को कर्टेल या रेस्ट्रिक्ट नहीं किया जा सकता. बट एक मिलिट्री रूल जब आती है, तब वहां पे the people in power do not really have to account for what they are doing, or they don't have to account for their actions. तो एक मिलिट्री रूल में अकाउंटेबिलिटी बहुत कम होती है. सो दे कैन रिस्ट्रिक्ट पीपल एंड दे डोंट हैव टू गिव अ रीजन फॉर व्हाई दे आर डूइंग इट. बट इन अ डेमोक्रेसी, जब भी कोई डिसीजन लिया जाता है, या जब भी कोई पॉलिसी लिया जाता है, या जब भी कोई भी एक्शन होता है गवर्नमेंट का, तो अब लोगों को पता है कि उन्हीं के रिप्रेजेंटेटिव हैं गवर्नमेंट में, उन्हीं लोगों ने चुना है इन लोगों को जो रूल कर रहे हैं. तो अगर ये कोई भी काम कर रहे हैं, तो उन्हें जवाब देना पड़ेगा कि वो ऐसा क्यों कर रहे हैं. डेमोक्रेसी में लोगों के हाथ में ये पावर होता है कि वो गवर्नमेंट से सवाल पूछ सके. And the government has to give answers, because if it doesn't, in the next term, that set of people is going to be replaced from government. That entire political party is going to be replaced. If people are so dissatisfied with your rules, they are not going to bring you to power again. But that doesn't happen in a military regime. So that is why the Western countries actually wanted a military rule to be in a position in Pakistan. And that is why it is also said that the military was basically a protector of Western interests, because these are basically Western concerns and Western interests, and they are propagating their own interests to the military in Pakistan. So this again becomes a very controversial issue if we discuss too much about it. But then in short, these are the three reasons why democracy has again and again failed in Pakistan. The first reason that we talked about was an internal reason, where people within the country, powerful people, had a hand in in the overthrow of the government whenever a democratic government came along. The second reason was that there was a long withstanding conflict with India, and so people decided that it's going to be really far more effective in terms of security if a military government stays in power. And the third reason is that the international community did not really want democratic rule in Pakistan. They were more in favor of military rule, because this would help them avoid what they call the threat of global Islamic terror.